Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It is markets in the morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Thursday, November 2nd, 2023. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the Bitcoin price chart, the altcoin market, the XRP price chart, which had a little bit of movement this morning. We'll take a look over there, of course, at other financial markets such as the stock market, the US dollar currency index, and metals such as gold, potentially silver, but usually just gold. We'll peek over their dominances, and then we'll check out for any type of financial news or any type of crypto news to get our day started. If you missed it yesterday, the Federal Reserve did their pause. So that was their second pause in a row, keeping the federal funds rate at 5.25 to 5.5%. It's the first time we got to play the frogs at the end, at the kind of a celebration a little bit, because the markets maintained themselves and grinded up. If you missed it there, the hours following that, the market actually kind of took a little bit of a rip to the upside following that pause actually happening. It seems like the market thinks they are done. I've gone ahead and checked. We're not going to pull it up every day until we get much closer to the next meeting, just to kind of peek at what does the market expect for the next Fed meeting. Already priced in 85% chance that one will be paused as well. So the market does believe they're paused. Saw TXMC kind of writing a little bit of a thought on, the Treasury also said that they were going to issue more debt, but it was less debt than what was expected, and it was shorter duration. So positives for that as well. The reverse repo facility continues to drain out, so that's good. Bitcoin ripped, altcoins ripped. XRP is at 61.5 cents. Bitcoin's at 35,200. So we're above $35,000 right now. Stock market, Dow Jones ripped over 220 points yesterday. It's up to over 200 points today. Just before we get the morning started, let me see if that's still accurate. Up 211 points as we get ready to open. The S&P is up 37 before we open, and the NASDAQ's up 173 before we open. So you can see yesterday that NASDAQ closed up 255 points, which is 1.77%. The S&P closed up 44 points, which is 1.05%, and the Dow Jones closed up 221 points, which is 0.67%. And it looks like we're ready to repeat that this morning as we get ready to open up the United States stock market here in 2 minutes from right now. Bitcoin, of course, took a big pop right up here to the upside. And as we get ready to kick the day off and get the financial markets open, this is kind of what we talked about yesterday. It was like, hey, even if we get a rip to the upside, we'll play the frog. But, just to kind of keep in mind for me, here we go, Buzzkill backer, that, hey, this thing could just continue ranging. If there's a wash back down to the downside here, that would be totally acceptable and actually expected. So we'll keep our eyes on that throughout the, why does it feel like Friday to me? It does just feel like Friday, but it's not. It's Thursday. We still have tomorrow to go. So we'll keep our eyes on it throughout the rest of the week. But my thoughts are likely if we have something like this going on, we are still just ranging right now. That was exciting. We've got some altcoins moving. You've been seeing kind of a washing machine happen as altcoins kind of pick and go. The total market cap got through the highest level it's had dating back to June of 2022. So the total market cap got the highest it's been in about a year and a half. So squeaked its way through the peak of the resistance. We're still working on sign of strength to get its way on out of here. Could just continue washing machining, not continuing yet. And Bitcoin did not get some big crazy breakout yet. So still is a lot of, keeping this in the back of my mind that, hey, this thing could keep going. We could keep seeing these things wash around a whole lot in here. But I have an interesting discussion we'll have on XRP in today's video, and I'm debating whether or not I'll put it into today's live stream, and I'm debating whether or not I'll be putting it into a video, just because not everybody watches markets in the morning. It can be long, and sometimes the data can be, or the alpha can be kind of sprinkled randomly, and nobody knows where to find it. So I might put it together in a video format, but you guys would get kind of a first peek at it where my brain started going this morning. And that's really just kind of what happens. I wake up, I start looking at charts, and then my brain goes down a route. And then sometimes I'll just make a video of it. So I'll show you where my brain started going this morning. But looking at Bitcoin, still keeping this in mind, a swoosh down here, right back down into these lows again, back into the 33s, would not be unacceptable. It'd be totally, totally normal. So keeping that in mind. The other thing that, of course, outside of this, this is the dream, right? This is living the dream. If we continue it like this and this thing keeps going, then it's like the next couple months are rock and roll and it's absolutely epic and amazing. That is the, fingers crossed, that'd be amazing. The thing though, is of course we've been following 2016. This thing has been insanely accurate in regards to the timing and the behavior of it. I'll move this out of the way just so we can see it all real on the whole screen. There we go. This thing, all these peaks coming in here within hours, and then these breakouts happening within hours of each other. And then here we are, we've been marching along. As you can see, if this thing is actually going to continue, right? In October, what were we saying? Well, if it's going to continue, then, in October, it's going to break out of the range and we're going to leave. So, well, what did we do? We did. You could see here, this is peak, right? So we're there. And now the big question, does 2016 absolutely continue to play on? And if it does, it means we're range bound stuck for another 7 months. Nobody wants that, right? So I'm going to still remain indifferent on here until this thing deviates, because this has happened in here. We have two different kinds of things going on. A perfect setup for things to go rocking and rolling, but at the same time, you guys know it. This thing, it's hard to argue with something that has been so silly in regards to its timing. So it's been stuck here, and now we're kind of there, right? We said November 1st, November 2nd is where things could happen at. Here you go. You got November 1st. There it is. Here we are, November 2nd. This thing took its spilled back down, and an equivalent would be this weekend, right? So we'll see how this goes and see if we can get something better to play out than that as we get through the weekend for Bitcoin. But let's get through this moment before getting too excited. So we definitely would like to see a deviation happen in here from this, just a continuation or a continued range as such, and not some big fallback again, or, to get back down here. It'd be nice to just kind of keep grinding and then continue up, then have to go build a support. And then, then we have to play the whole, all right, are we ranging game, which of course I don't want to do. I don't think you guys want to do, but we know this to be true. Whoever the market makers are, the bots, whatever it is that's in control of timing these things to happen exactly when they are happening, we're there. So keep your eyes peeled on that for Bitcoin. But total, obviously getting through here. This has been interesting to me. So I want to talk to you about XRP this morning. This has been a little bit of a challenging structure that we've had in here currently right now. This has definitely been a challenge to figure out what is happening in here when we have some large move like this happening, and then we're just right back in here. We know that with total, you would be in like a Wyckoff accumulation, right? You would sell in climax, secondary test in phase B, right? 5 waves back to the upside, then our little ABC happening in here, and then now working back up to our sign of strength. But of course, XRP's kind of like that, but kind of different due to this big thing. And this morning I started playing with it and saying, if I used my imagination and just pretended that didn't exist and that this had just kind of gone like that, what would, had we not get that 100% increase happening there on the timing of the SEC news, would we just look like that right now? One issue we knew we had during that breakout is that we just didn't have the same elements that we had in the Bitcoin. For example, like when we had this breakout back in here. The amazing thing about the timing of this occurring, of course, was that what day were we on? We were on day 820 of an 826-day consolidation fractal, right? And so it was like, oh my gosh, it breaks out on perfect timing. What are the dang chances of that happening? But the elements that were different between this breakout back here And the one that we had was strength in Bitcoin. And we knew we just didn't have it. We had no evidence yet that Bitcoin was going into a breakout. And so as we were sitting here gapped to the upside, well above this range, we kept saying, there's an element missing, and it is Bitcoin. And I know that's not the narrative that everybody wants to hear. Everybody wants to hear we're going to go on a spaceship, rocket, moon landing thing without Bitcoin because of, the narratives. But the element missing was Bitcoin. And I'm just curious, if we didn't have the SEC lawsuit and XRP get declared not a security, and if we didn't have all the exchanges listed together in one day, it was just like a bam day, right? XRP wins, all exchanges list, boom, YOLO, 100% candle. Had we not done that, would we just look like this? And if we did just look like this, right, it would make sense because we would just look like the rest of the market, right? That's the same Wyckoff accumulation that we have. They're all starting at the same point back here in June of 2022. That puts us back here, right, in June of 2022, right? There's your selling climax that comes in right here, and then we just waddle along. And to kind of visualize that there, it'd be more along the lines of that, right? And, kind of the interesting things about these, right? The timings of these. I just messed this whole thing up. Back. There. Right? That we would have just kept waddling, right? And instead, we got really kind of that big, massive breakout to end up coming in there with the SEC. But now it's as if, we're going through the sign of strength, escape happening in here right now, right? And so, that I saw this morning. I started thinking about, just because we've been talking so much about total, that it made more sense to me that it would just make more sense for XRP to be in that type of phase right in there, where it's actually starting to finally get its way out of here. And this was just a long last point of support, and if you look at the time distribution of how long this would last, it's not like it lasted longer than we would see in a price structure for it to happen. As you can see, it's starting to escape right now, getting into that sign of strength phase, as we would be. It's just there's this anomaly printed here on the chart that otherwise wouldn't be there if we didn't have the thing we all waited for 3 years, which, XRP is not a security, Coinbase relisting, Kraken relisting, everybody relisting, and it all happening on the exact same day, and the FOMO and excitement. But the element of Bitcoin was missing. Now, what do we have? Do we have the element of Bitcoin? For sure. Yeah, we've been getting it. Finally, right? We escape. We spend 7 months in here. We finally get the escape happening here for Bitcoin to get out of it. And then that is now finishing up last point of support to head into sign of strength. And the thing is, we just have that anomaly printed right there on there. And so it becomes subjective in regards to saying, does that not exist, right? Would that otherwise not exist had that day not occurred on that particular day? And that's kind of the question that each person kind of has to answer for themselves. And if you haven't seen it, it's been a couple months since we put it on here, right? And people brought it up too. Like, if you look at the consolidation time period of how long you've been in here, right, where the crash begins in here and how long you've been in there, you're at the point now, right? This is, all your stuff. Remember these points all matching up in here. There you go. Instead of continuing to accumulate down in here, we get the SEC stuff, right? And then we move over, and then now here you go. Now you've reached your time. So not only do we have Wyckoff in here, the big problem though is because that subjective decision to say that didn't count, that didn't matter, that was irrelevant and 100% news driven, and it was sell the news because we didn't have the strength happening over here in Bitcoin or in the rest of the cryptocurrency market at the same time. And it went on to prove that, XRP does not move up, does not go into bull runs without the rest of the cryptocurrency market. When the cryptocurrency market peaks, April 14th, Bitcoin's peak, right? The whole market goes into bear, XRP goes with it. When the whole cryptocurrency market turns up, XRP turns up with it every single time. And we didn't have that here, right? But now we do. Now we have that happening here in the market. And you'd have to subjectively say, without that news occurring in there, would we just look exactly like total, right? Would we be moving along exactly like total? And this is now the end of Wyckoff, which is a fantastic fit time-wise, right? And I screwed up the whole chart because I zoomed in. Let me see. Can I fix it? I think. Can I? There it is. Remove the SEC news, and that it was actually perfect timing for Wyckoff, and then it also matches the same time of the last Wyckoff phase in here, right? So not only are we on the brink of completing Wyckoff over here on total market cap, but also on the brink of Wyckoff there for XRP as well. The issue with that is having to be subjective in regards to saying this element never would have shown up in here. This would have continued on. Don't do that. This would have continued on as a standard Wyckoff. Let me see if I can get something like to cover that. If I kind of do it like that. There you go. That's how you'd visualize it, right? Which is what we would have here, right? Our selling climax, our automatic rallies. Notice the ABC for automatic rally secondary test, right? A, B, C, right? A, B, C. Then 5 waves down for secondary test in phase B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Then 5 waves back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then off into the long grind. Off into the long grind, which we would have done had we not had news show up in the middle of it and the market wasn't prepared for it. So I don't know, that's kind of exciting, huh? Mix in the confluence of the amount of time elapsed down in here on that accumulation. Kind of exciting. And mix in total market cap trying to break out. Kind of exciting. And if Bitcoin is doing something like that, that's kind of exciting. Because here, it was shortly after that XRP went rocking. It was like the showstopper of excitement. But it stopped because they got sued by the SEC, right? But it was shortly after this where things like started firing. We went up 300%, right? We went from 23 cents to like 69. I don't know why 69 doesn't sound right to me. I think it was higher than that. Let's go see. Right here. Yeah, 82, 83. So, run with it. Run with it. I noticed it this morning, and I started saying to myself, is this what we would have done? Would we have just been along with the total market cap, cruising on along, had that never happened, right? Had that event never happened where it did, would we just be cruising along with perfect Wyckoff and having finished the last point of support in here? And I'm leaning towards we would have. I'm leaning towards that's what would have been the case. Just because we also have that here with total market cap. And of course, we also have that with Ethereum. So Ethereum's the exact same thing, right? So we have that throughout the whole market. And then, you reach this phase and it's like, okay, well, have we reached a phase where it would make any type of sense to go ahead and go for a sign of strength breakout for Wyckoff accumulation, not only for XRP, that it would be time for a sign of strength breakout. Not only would it be time for total market cap to break out, and would it be time for Ethereum to break out, you would have to be getting that signal from Bitcoin. And if this was our case, I'm going to find it. that was that final moment before they did all get going in 2020. So it makes sense too. So we kind of have all those kind of elements happening there for that to be the phase coming. So long as that's not continuing. If that's continuing, 7 more months. Otherwise, you have Wyckoff completed. Wyckoff not accumulation time. Perfect accumulation time completed for XRP. Legitimately perfect. Along with Wyckoff that would have happened without a news-driven 100% surge in a day. Right? We came back down. We didn't find any supports anywhere, right? Until we finally got back into the range. And it's like, hey, you're back where you're supposed to be. You know, you stay here, right? It didn't go breaking down like all these people said it was going to go breaking down. It didn't find supports on any moving averages. It didn't find supports on top of any support levels. It didn't find anything. It just said, hey, no, you're supposed to be here. Go back. So that's what I think. I see somebody in the chat, Naggy Day, saying, dump. If you, like we said in the beginning, I've said for even over a week, this in a bull expectation, this would be my expectation to happen right here. Probably back into the 33s. This isn't a dump. This is ranging. If you thought yesterday was a pump for Bitcoin, it's not. It's still ranging. And it's actually just what we said. So I'm glad we got to see it because we did lay it out there and said, look, even if price gets out, everybody's going to interpret that as a breakout. And that I don't think it's a breakout. We will have series of higher highs followed by higher lows. And so every time we go, poking above here, it's going to be considered to be a breakout, but it's not. It's ranging and building strength to try to go for a real breakout, right? So long as that's not the case. And the reason we're pointing at this and keep saying so long as that's not the case, because this thing has been silly in regards to timing, even on like day 700, nailing the breakout of the range happening at the same time. We're now finally there, right? We're at November 2nd, right? This thing right here pulled back down to support and the range was confirmed to continue going for another 7 months from this particular time. So pull down here all you want. I don't care. Pull down to 33.5. Doesn't matter to me. But I would like to see the higher highs and higher lows continue happening. If we pull back down to 31.8, it's just going to be like, oh boy, that really increased those odds there. That we are now in new range. So welcome to new range for Bitcoin. So if you don't expect this, or as Nagy says, dump. I'd expect it. I'd expect more pulling down to happen in here, just because that's even what we said yesterday. That if we even get the jump out during the Fed meeting, which it came after the Fed meeting, but if we get this jump out during the Fed meeting, the expectation would be that it would take it all back. So I would not be surprised to see it take it all back down into the 33s. It would be just completely normal. But back on XRP, I think it's a very interesting time, and I think this is my thesis. I think this is my thesis of what's actually going on here, because trying to do this. I mean, so the other thing you could say is, hey, look at it. It's a perfect breakout of trend, right? You can take these 2 points of contact, right? You can take this point of contact. You could take this point of contact. And then you could say, this is a big fat breakout, and then it perfectly nails a back test, right? So you have that argument too. But you get pretty difficult here from any type of structure perspective, coming up with some type of bull thesis. You get difficult with this thing. This thing goes beyond, and I've been playing with this obviously for months at this point, to say, how do we interpret this? And, it's okay, fine. We want to break out here and then come back and whack it, but just getting this high, how do we interpret this? And that's been my challenge. And the thing that makes sense is we know it's news driven. We know it was a news event that occurred in there. And we know that it deviated away from what the entire market was doing, but the entire market would be back at sign of strength phase currently right now. And that's also where we would technically be here back for XRP currently at this time. And you looking at its last long-term consolidation after it did this 85.5% correction, which is, as we know, this is what we've had here in 2022 and 2023, that when we spent this much time in the consolidation from the actual crash back down into the consolidation zone, this is where we got to, right? This much time elapsed. That's where we are on Wyckoff here into total market cap. That's where we are on Wyckoff in this whole thing. So I'm very intrigued. I'm hesitant to be like, we're on the cusp of moon. But if this is the case, if this is what we're playing out in here, that was the cusp of the beginning of moon for this market, and especially for XRP. It was like a month later, the thing tripled itself in price. So maybe. All right. Bitcoin, $35,000. Range continues, right? Like we said, if this is the case, this is the most bullish case. This case right here would take us back down to supports. And if we go back down to supports, we'd be looking like we're opening up the can of worms to be in here for 7 months or something like that. But as long as we're continuing to range like this, we did a time guess on it because there's a bajillion people in here who must know when moon, and then they will hold it to my head that it must happen within that time. But if you did a time equivalence right in here, and right, so don't construe the words. I'm not telling you it will happen, but we did a exercise of time based on the velocity at which it is moving, based on the velocity at which this has happened. You know, it'd still give you a few weeks in here. A few weeks in here if you were to continue like that, right? This period right here would put you about right there, right? So you'd still have more to go, and that's just kind of the thoughts. But the nice thing has been the movements happening there, and altcoins have been really good. Don't be confused by that red you see on the side of the screen. Yesterday was a crushing killer day. Even the total market cap had the highest market cap for the total market cap that we've seen in a year and a half. It was a very nice day for the altcoin market yesterday. So, all right, there you go. Bitcoin. Now we'll see if we'll settle here for the next few days as time has officially run out on this thing. We'll see if we keep going at that velocity. Hopefully not. Hopefully this is now our new story, and we've broken away from 2016. Let's keep going here. So there you go. I have not mentioned this stuff. Of course, I have a newsletter out there, blockchainbacker.substack.com. There's a link in the description of this live stream and every YouTube video to blockchainbacker.substack.com. And the most recent one, we went through the developer data of the top 20 altcoins back in 2020 versus the top 20 by market cap. Did a case study on them to say, what would a portfolio have done had you gone based on developer activity rather than shopping what's at the top of the list by market cap, such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Binance Coin, blah, blah, blah. Versus rather finding things that actually have the highest developer activity on chain. Run a case study through it to see who would be the winner. It was a substantial difference that the developer activity group did win. So we go through that and show that case study, and then I do go in there and show what is the current top 20 by developer activity right now and where you can find those resources for yourself. It's at blockchainbacker.substack.com. Of course, you can check out bcbacker.com if you'd like to get 40 videos from me with over 11 hours of content teaching you how to chart, how to set up your own charts, your own indicators, and teaching you about stuff like this: Wyckoff accumulation, Wyckoff method, Elliott wave theory, and then talking a lot about the historical behavior of the cryptocurrency market and how this market has behaved before. And there's also downloadable PDFs in there so you can print those out for yourself. All right, moving along. There we go. Bitcoin, $35,000. XRP, 61.4 cents. Time has run out. We have reached moon zone. Are we going to go? My bags are packed, man. My bags are loaded to the dang max. To levels I never thought would ever be. To levels that feel irresponsibly dangerous. Lord help me. All right, there you go. XRP. And I was thinking about that too. I was thinking, just so you know, we're going to side tangent here for a second. I've gone to a lot of events over this last year. I went to NFT Miami in December of last year. I went to Consensus 2023. I went to XRP Las Vegas. I went to the proper party in New York City. I've had an amazing opportunity to travel and to meet people in person. And it also reminds me of back in October of 2021, when we're in the thick of the bull run. We're like near the peak of the top. And like I was traveling with my wife around the United States, and we made a stop in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I posted a picture of me on Twitter. And I was in Knoxville. The photo got like 8,000 likes. It's like, oh crap. A lot of people were seeing my face for the first time. But then people started showing up. I didn't know Knoxville was a small enough town that people could easily recognize what was in the background behind me. And within 15 minutes, I had people coming and finding me in Knoxville. But the stories I heard there was like, I just wanted to thank you because you were here during all the really tough times. And, we made it out to the other side, and we're here together. And, I don't know if I could have done it without just like listening. And you don't know me, but man, I know you really well. And it's like we're buddies. And it was very heartfelt. And I heard that multiple times in Knoxville. Then, of course, when I go to Consensus, I hear the same thing. And then we go to XRP Las Vegas, you hear the same thing. And then you go to Proper Party, and people tell you these things. And, obviously we're in the thick of the tough times right now. But there's a lot of people who sit there and lurk. And I know most of you who are listening to me right now, that's probably what you do. You just lurk. But you show up every day. You're like, BCB's going to show up every day. I'll take a listen. And knowing that we're kind of going on the journey together, right? It's been a rough one. My bags are packed too. But even during the darkest of days, I'm there with it too, man. And it's, the days will turn bright again. And I look forward to those days too, where we do get to shake hands. And then you say, hey, I was there every day in the background, just lurking, listening. And we made it to the promised land, and we did it together. And that'll be a cool day. And for some of you maybe listening to that thinking that's silly, or, it happens. And I'm telling you, it happens. And those experiences are amazing. And there's this chance, right? There's this chance. We're like right on the cusp of it, okay? I cheer that's it. I cheer that it's finally payday. Finally payday. And like one other thing too, to like, you have to kind of like, if it is, right? If things do start getting really exciting in this market, enough time has passed that people don't remember what bullish periods are like. A really good example is all these Solana bots that have come in here, or people hooting and hollering on Twitter about Solana. You guys know I'm in Solana. I've been in it since, $10-13 during the FTX collapse, but I'm not sitting here like hooting and hollering about it, right? Most percentages are gone, right? Most of the percentage rise for Solana all took place in here, right? This is like the hundreds of percentages have happened in here. The latecomers come in and they try to catch the very end. We're up 348%, right? They didn't even start getting excited until we crossed over 33. That's where it's up 260% already. That's why I always say percentages matter. Those are the things that matter. They're all hooting and hollering because they've made like 30%. They're like, we are gods now. But to remember that stuff happens in this market, and boy, you have to have some tough skin to not fall for that trap of FOMO out there, that it's going to come a lot. There's going to be a ton of people out there, no matter what coin it is, saying this is the winner, this is the winner, this is the winner. Because typically they end up going one by one, right? One is a leader, then another, then another, then another. And then you kind of find yourself hipping and hopping around all over the place. But to just kind of get ready, if you haven't, going through 6.5 years of this market, it's been a long time since we haven't seen this stuff where you see Solana bots all over the place, right? It's been a long time since we've seen that type of behavior in the market. It feels good to see it, but I forgot how annoying it is. It's how sad it is. So ignore that stuff. Ignore people who are shilling their bags, right? You do your preparations, you follow your plans, you do your stuff. Don't mind anybody who's bragging because they just came in and bought Solana and now they're getting on Twitter saying, "Hey, Solana's the best thing in the world. I'm up 9%." Of course, they don't tell you that, right? They don't tell you that part. But Solana bots in the chat, we've had enough. You can knock it off. All right. Dow Jones Industrial Average, you're up 266 points to get the day going. S&P, you're up 48 points. NASDAQ, you're up 178. Crushing day over here in the stock market. Who's our leader? Coinbase is way up there. ARK is up there at 6.9%, followed by Coinbase at 6.49%. I saw that in the ARK portfolio. Coinbase has bypassed Tesla in the ARK portfolio. So Coinbase is their number one holding. Now Tesla is their number two holding. So, of course, you see Coinbase rocking. Who else is rocking? ARK over there. Yeah, so there you go. This is interesting, too. We see long duration yields are falling because, market is... I'm not going to interpret it. The long duration yields are falling. That's easing the market a little bit when you see those long duration yields start to fall. So that's a good sign for markets to go up. DXY, this is interesting. So this is exactly what we were looking at yesterday when we were doing the Fed live stream. As always, in the middle of those things, you can't trust any of the moves that are happening in the middle of the actual meeting. We saw the DXY shoot down to the downside, and it was like, oh, okay, we'll see how it goes. Then it shoots to the upside, and then there's some guy in the chat. He's like, I told you. DXY to 115, and then it falls all the way back down. Don't ever. That's why I always say it before we do those Fed live meetings. That I'm like, look, I'm not going to try to interpret anything that happens in the thick of the moment or shortly afterwards, because it's going to be trickery. And we saw like 3 tricks there on the DXY for it to finally go in a direction, and it comes down and sets a new weekly low, at least over here on the DXY. So we're back to 106. As we know, this 106 thing has been the problem. We've gone through the history of DXY dating way back to the last 25 years. Breaking above and breaking below 106 has been kind of a marking point of this thing. And so we just can't seem to definitively get back below it. So that's really the thing my eyes are on. It's like, hey, can we crush through it? If we can crush through the bottom side of it, sweet, that's awesome. But we just it's still just hover there. So I don't think there's anything to interpret by hitting the top of the range, bottom of the range, top of the range, bottom of the range. Yeah, it sets a little bit of a lower low, but that doesn't really seem to matter for the DXY. So we'll keep our eyes on it. But what I'd really love to see is like a definitive breakthrough back through 106. Let's go see 104 and say hello and shake hands and feel a little bit more confident over there. Otherwise, not a lot to interpret from DXY at this particular moment just yet. Gold, as we saw last week, this week it may end up red. There you go. So 3 weeks of just crushing right here for gold, back to the retracement levels this week, back in. We'll see how it ends up closing. Will it close on top of 702, and how will it perform next week? Again, this thing is going to this move right here happened like in the final hours of Friday. So it had chilled here all week at 1980 doing nothing. And then the last hours of Friday went through 702. We'll see how this week ends up closing itself out for gold tomorrow. As for dominances, right, we've been following the safety trade dominance. You can see it's starting to curl back over. I'm uncertain if this is the one that's going to actually break it down, or if there'll be one more little bounce in here and wham, off and away it goes. Over the last 2 weeks, I have started the process of getting rid of some of my Bitcoin for altcoins. It's been so stressful to do that. Even so, Bitcoin still sits as my number 2 asset by USD value that I do hold, but been definitely getting rid of it, going through developer activity reports and spreading it out a little bit. Fingers crossed. All right. Again, heading back over to talking about what we were speaking about earlier, right? This whole thing, if this ends up being the case, the idea of it continuing to do something like that, where, like we know, November 2nd is really where this kind of reversal shows up in. If it does end up doing something like that, is all that discussion we've even had over here on the BLX. Like, this started as a newsletter, but I've now incorporated it here into the YouTube channel. Just recoveries after super cycles. And we know that this was a completed super cycle from 2014 or early 2015 all the way to 2021. And that this would be a correction after a super cycle. And the correction actually started back over here back in April, but it just wasn't obvious that it was because of the new high, that this was the whole correction, the exact same copy and paste correction, which we keep showing right here, of a completed super cycle correction that has happened. And that's why we have these exact same price behaviors happening of what happened after a super cycle completed. And of course, I've been real critical. I've been real strong in my language. I have no regrets about it. We are not doing 2019 through 2020. Said it 100,000 times. Anybody thinking we're doing this are the same people who had no freaking clue what was going on up in here. And it means they're also a year behind down here. They just are so far behind the curve to think this is 2019 to 2020. It is not. You have nothing. It's not. So it's laughable. It is laughable to think it's 2019. I'm a jerk about that because I've said that for years prior to this stuff. And so a lot of the 12Kers, a lot of the 23, 20, 16Kers, of course, they're all buying into that. They're using the recency bias. Let's look to the most recent one. That we're going to do the most recent, even though the most recent was not the most recent one that had happened. Why wouldn't this be the same as this if the most recent is what mattered? Okay. Hi, I have had breakfast today. Okay. Point being, right, if we are having this style event going on here, we have a correction after a super cycle, right? And, of course, we all are sitting here cheering that we can keep rocking in here to keep going, which all signs point to good, right? Signs point to good here. Signs point to good here. Get back here, XRP. Right? Signs point to good here. All is well in the universe, like all elements aligning, everything looks wonderful. But in the event that this is the case, to understand that too, is to understand what corrections and recoveries after super cycles did, right? If you're going in to start something new, but it's just going to last a whole lot longer, the thing we always did, and that's what we always said, this is not 2019. It's a total swing and miss. To say it's 2019, and that's because we have a range, we break from the range, consolidate on it, another 200 days, break, consolidate on it, 200, break and go. You have your range, you break, you consolidate on it by back testing it, you break it, you consolidate on it by back testing, you break it, you back test it, and you just keep going, right? And that's just what happens here. That's where you are now, right? That's just where you are right here, if that's the case, right? So it's mixed for me to say which one I want, right? Do I want the show to get on the road? Do I want the alts to go nuts? Do I want everything to get yellow exciting and the next 2 to 3 months are just absolutely fantastic? We're all hooting and hollering, singing Kumbaya, and everybody's shilling Solana everywhere. Sure. But of course, long term, I don't know if that's such a good thing, right? Like, I've talked about that too. Does that mean we get into these retracements and then we turn into a very long, devastating situation here for the cryptocurrency market long term? I'm not so sure. I'm a huge fan of that. So having to kind of swallow the pill of, if this does become our case and this does keep going on right in here, where it just kind of keeps continuing on and it just keeps acting like all past recoveries, right? Well, it's like, blockchain backer is going to be here a long time, right? There's a long career ahead for blockchain backer because it's like we're just ramping up and the market's just going to keep climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. And that's a long, wonderful career of saying, hey, what's going on? This is a much shorter career of if things, go nuts and it comes to an ending relatively quickly. So, it's a mixed bag of feelings on which one it has. And I don't really have I would like for my bags to moon right now, but I don't want the world to end. So mixed, we'll track it and we'll just say, which one are we looking like as time gets closer? But as we know, and as we've tracked here on the channel, we're at the point, right? So La Carefularia right now. Okay. 1981 for gold, 34.8 for Bitcoin, 61.1 for XRP as time in consolidation range has completed. We'll see if we can go ahead and get the sucker moving down in here as the Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT, USDC dominance finally starts to get its break. There you have it. As the Fed has paused and as the stock market rips to the upside today, again, adding on top of yesterday's big gains. So Dow Jones up 250, S&P up 42, NASDAQ up 140. All indexes are up about 1%, except for the Dow, which is 0.75%. Coinbase up over 5% today with ARK over 6%. So good day over here in stocks. Obviously, excellent day over here in crypto yesterday as total market cap finally got a little bit of a peaky woo here on top of the market cap. We'll see if we'll now just build a support on top of here. If not, the kind of expectation is more of just this type of grinding right here in the event that we are in a rocking beginning phase of just YOLO excitement in the market. But keep your eyes out for something like that to emerge. We know we're literally on the day. So we are on the day. We'll look back on this and we'll say, well, it turns out it was, or it was not. That was the mark of the peak right there, November 1st, right here, in equivalent time. And, there we have it. Let's put it on like a 4-hour candle. How did it do? It's within 4 hours. Within 4 hours, right? So hopefully not. Tomorrow and the next day and the weekend. I think when we get back from the weekend, we'll be kind of like, all right, have we held the higher lows? If we've held the higher lows, let's effing go. So, all right. Financial news, why not? All right. Labor costs show surprise decline in third quarter. Target CEO Cornell says shoppers are pulling back even on groceries. This is what I talked about when it comes to container shipping stuff, that the containers were not getting FOMO bought this time around. That for the first time that I can recall, it's been a little while, but to see shipping container costs dropping in September and October. That's historically not a time that does happen. That's where everybody's fighting to get products in for holiday sales. We didn't see that. And then also Amazon implementing this stuff, this Prime Day in October, obviously trying to grab some of that market share of before other retailers can do it. So it's kind of like they're holding a Black Friday in October, right? To steal, because there's not as big of a piece of the pie, and Amazon's trying to take it a little bit earlier. I think it's actually a slime ball move. So, okay, moving on. Bloomberg, Powell's nod to tight financial conditions causes them to loosen. Okay, U.S. continuing jobless claims rise for the sixth week as labor cools. Why make this misleading? It was 217,000, right? Totally a normal number. Ignore that. You're garbage, Bloomberg. Bank of England keeps rates unchanged. They just need a headline, right? This is just a headline. Powell's nod to tight financial conditions causes them to loosen. That's just a headline. Jobless claims rise for the sixth week. That's just a headline. Bank of England keeps rates unchanged, playing down talks of cuts. U.S. 30-year yields falls 10 basis points on Fed bets. Markets wrap. Okay. You're not getting our attention today, Bloomberg. You upset me. Sam Bankman-Fried trial, day 16, latest update, live coverage, breaking. Okay, this is hot story. Editor shows PayPal faces SEC action related to PYUSD stablecoin. New Bitcoin price breakouts. See Bitcoin traders confirm targets to 48K. Where are 12Kers at? Hey. You guys all want 48K now, huh? I don't know. That's fraud. Prosecutors say in the closing arguments at Sam Bankman-Fried trial, crypto's pro-rioter glitch artist stirs controversy. Bitcoin beyond 35K for Christmas? Question mark. Thank Jerome Powell if it happens. Okay. PayPal receives SEC subpoena linked to stablecoin. USDC. Okay, so Santa rally could propel Bitcoin to 56K by year end. Oh boy. So this is definitely a different narrative that we have going on here in the news. As you can see, all these crypto news places are trying to add all these super mega bull targets right now, right? Let's see what the fear and greed index is out there. How greedy are you guys? You are in greed. So we have the highest fear and greed index dating back Greed is at its highest since November of 2021. Never got this high in 2022. But that's okay. It's not extreme greed, right? But it is greed. It's kind of like that nice bullish level where we're all like YOLOing and having a good time, but we're not like loving rainbow charts on Twitter, or are we? All right, that's it for news. A little too spicy for the morning. I'm in way too good of a mood, so I think I'm just being sarcastic. I think that's what's going on. I'm all good. So, all right, there you go. That's what we got going on for Bitcoin. Range continues. Like we said, any upward price action would not be breakout. We're looking to see if we can maintain this. And we do know for our 2016 price behavior, this was the moment it turned back down. So we'd like to see ourselves be able to hold in a range and keep rocking in here as we look fantastic over here for total market cap as it got out. Hopefully this moment in time that we're living in right now is a back test and the rest of the day turns green, as we have seen already over there in the stock market. XRP, you have reached your accumulation time period of ending. That marked it. That's where all these little doozies showed up in here, right? Guess what? We're there finally. And if you kind of use your creativity a little bit to say, hey, look, if the total market cap has been working on Wyckoff accumulation this entire time, why is XRP any different? And it's, well, we had the best news that we've waited 3 years for happen in one day, where XRP is not a security and every exchange lists on that exact same afternoon. A thrilling day. Had you eliminated that anomaly and it not be there, XRP would actually just be a perfect Wyckoff continuing to shuffle along, because as price fell back down, what did it do? It didn't find any supports on any moving averages. It didn't do blah, blah, blah. You had all the Bitcoin maximalist telling us that we're going to 30 cents, but what does it do? It says, no, we're not supposed to be here. We're supposed to be here, just as the rest of the market is at the time. But as we could see, total market cap working towards side of strength, working on that sign of strength. XRP getting there to the end of the range, and also at the exact same phase in here for sign of strength. Here we go. Waiting for a bigger move to emerge. First sign I'd like to see, of course, is just Bitcoin be able to set a higher low in here, not go back test that thing as the date and time has arrived. Otherwise, fingers crossed we're there. Fingers crossed. All right. That's it, guys. That's it for today. The stock market is rocking today. We'll check stocks one more time. Coinbase up 6.16%, with ARK up 6.9%, as ARK has now Coinbase as their number one holding in their portfolio. NASDAQ is up over 1%. S&P is up over 1%. Dow is up 0.9%, up almost 300 points for the Dow, 48 for the S&P, and 140 over there for the NASDAQ. Killer day. We'll see if crypto can have a killer day as well, as this total market cap potentially is just trying to put in a little bit of a back test in here after yesterday's move, after the Fed meeting happened yesterday. So we'll see if we can just do a little, hello, how are you? Are you okay there? You're good? All right, goodbye. We'll see how the next couple of days go. But otherwise, all is well out here in crypto land. And I hope all is well over there with you guys too. So that will conclude this portion of the content, and I'm going to hop into chat. We'll see if we have any questions and anything in there. And then we will get on with our beautiful day. At least I hope it's beautiful there. Bill Kansky, good morning, dude, from 80 degrees south. Hey, are you in Antarctica? A little birdie told me that you are. Thanks, brother. Michael J. Love gifted a BCB membership. Thank you very much, sir. Oscar Hernandez, my bros here. Oscar Hernandez, too, says, hit the like for some BC bacon. Thank you very much, Oscar. Jenny's Blease, member for 5 months. What's your opinion on Tron chart? Looks decent. Tron has a great looking chart. However, it's been one of those ones that has just kept grinding upwards through everything. However, there's like 4 developers who work on Tron. It's like, you know it's... Okay, you don't know. I speculate. Justin Sun plays a little role in propping that thing up with a lot of fancy USDT and Poloniex and Huobi trickery that happens there for Tron. But will it go any higher? I don't know. If there wasn't so much of that tied behind it, I don't know. It may end up being a killer this year. Who knows? Maybe a rock star. But yeah, that chart has held strength the whole time. The whole. Again, I don't own any of this. I don't own any. But here is 2021. So April of 2021, right? April 15th. Crash, retrace, reaccumulation, grinding. Will there be a big breakout? Potentially. I can't hold it, man. I've tried, man. I've bought it. I've held it. I've ridden it up a little bit. And I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm out. Excuse me. I'm still fighting over this illness. Yeah. So I don't know. The chart looks great. You kind of got to know what goes on behind the scenes with Tron. A lot of those celebrities that were promoting stuff, crypto stuff back in 2021 that showed up all of a sudden, who you think probably played a role in a lot of that? The one and only, right? I know he's under fraud investigation by the SEC. I think, I don't know if there's warrants out for him, what there is, I don't know. But this one definitely controlled by forces, I would think, that I'm uncomfortable with. But not to say it won't. I'm not saying it won't, because it certainly has they've kept that chart looking very, very nice this whole time. But I own none. But thank you very much. Michael J. Love, hit the frickin' like button. It is free. Thank you very much. We have 2,300 people in here. If you could smash the like button, that's the best way to support. I appreciate it. Big Shroom says, my TA says 12K XRP tomorrow. I'm 50X leveraged accordingly. Okay. That's a joke. Sometimes people will joke about that. This is always a wonderful opportunity for me to say that I'm not a supporter of using leverage or using margin in the cryptocurrency market. This is the most volatile market in the world. You have essentially moved on to being a degen gambler where you will lose everything. And if you think you're emotional with these types of moves, boy, nothing more emotional than seeing your account go to zero in a matter of seconds because you got liquidated. And it happens all the time. Those affiliate links that you're clicking to go to those margin trading websites, those are not for you to become a winner. Those are for you to become a loser. And for you to lose at the casino. So, all right. Thank you, Big Shroom. Jonas Fugalis. Can we compare November of 2020, January 2020 to July of 2023 to September of 2023 in XRP? November of 2020 to January. Yeah, no, they're not the same. This was a theory a lot of people were having back in here that this was the same. These weren't. So I guess do I want to take this off? Can I do it over here? Yeah, let's do it over here. Save that for later. Right. So what's going on right here? Right. So there are some similarities. We can talk about that. There's a 200-day moving average, right? So we have capitulation, right? So this is C19 back in 2020. You think you have it bad going from $2 to 30 cents. Imagine going from $3 to 10 cents. Some of you guys don't even know. You don't even know. And it's not even that. It's just going from here, right? Going from 40 cents, being this deep into it, going from 40 cents to 10 cents, you had a 75% haircut happen from deep down in here. You lose 90% and you're like, okay, there's no way it can get any worse, man. There's just no way. Yeah, it can. Yeah, it can. That's what was so bad. And then so after that moment, right, now we're stuck with everybody using hand sanitizer and wearing gloves to go to the grocery store, people wearing binders on their head with makeshift helmets, people fighting over the toilet paper and all that stuff, and 25% unemployment, we're all going to die. That That was a lovely time to be a bull. I say that just because I was a bull, but it was not lovely. Imagine how scared people were at that time and what those comments were like on those YouTube videos. How irresponsible are you? Ugh. Okay. Anyway, imagine this being our FTX, right? That's just where we had the liquidations all happen, right? And then we pull out and then we hold on the 200, pull out, hold on the 200, boom, then you get the breakout, boom, you get the breakout, and then failure, and then failure. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, wait, these are like the same thing happening in here, right? I kept saying even in here, I don't think it is. Yeah, we got the big pullback, but in here, I'm like, I kept pushing. Remember the charts? We do it like this. We put up 3 of them every day in markets in the morning. It looked like this. You guys hated it. It's okay. I understood. A long consolidation, right? I won't do them all, but we'll do this one just so it's kind of like, oh yeah, I remember this. Remember the stuff in here? We'd have this, and then we'd have Bitcoin down here. Oh, here, this one right here. There's this one right there. Right, and it was like this, and why not? Why not? We're going to do it. We're already here. Okay. Forget it. Forget it. We're done. You understand what I'm saying. If you don't, I'm sorry. It's too bad. Come on, Binance. I either need to plug my mouse into a new outlet or I need a new mouse. You guys probably see me do this all the time. It's actually an accident that I'm doing that so often. That's my mouse double clicking too often. So what do we get? We get the hold on top of the 200-day moving average, hold on the top of the 200-day moving average. We get the big move up. We get the big move up. There's a difference between these, though, and the timing of when they're actually happening in here and that. This is occurring as Bitcoin is literally here, right? So Bitcoin's getting this breakout in here. In that moment in time is this. So let me see if I have the right one. XRP, what color are you? You are a dark purple. This one. Okay, so I've got you stretched out a little bit. There you go. That was it right there. So this one right here, I'm going to hide everybody. We don't need everybody but we do this. Okay. So here we are in that zone, right, that we're talking about here. Then, there's the divergence that we've been talking about. Then the break comes, right? Then the price breaks out. And so your question is, I'm assuming your question is this moment like this moment? And I don't think it is. And I think and that's kind of the point I was trying to make today in this video as we talk about this, as we look precisely like the total market cap, as we look precisely like Ethereum, that the anomaly that is printed in here is this. And it was 100% news driven, 100% FOMO driven, opening up Coinbase, opening up Kraken, legally getting the free pass. XRP gets the pass. And it's just an exciting day. And this one candle only lasts for that one day. This is not a strength-driven grind, right? Like this is, right? This is a consolidation and then a grind, a breakout, continuation, and a move. This is one big fat FOMO, fat finger by the entire world of excitement, right? And then just not able to sustain it and back into accumulation once again. And so I don't think that exists in there. While we did hold on there, and it's kind of like, oh, it was kind of similar, like timing arrived right. But even if you kind of, do these things in here, we should have dipped lower. This is what the expectation was. We should go lower. We should continue going lower. Notice it's not breaking out at the same time. It's not behaving like any of that at the same time, because I don't think it is. I think you have a better shot that this was actually just much longer Wyckoff. And this also goes along with, how long that accumulation period lasted in there as well. So I'm going to chalk it up to that the whole market looks like this, We know that on total. The whole market looks like this. XRP looks the same. Hate it or love it. All those narrative drivers out there, hate it or love it. XRP is doing the same thing. But we had a news-driven event that happened in there, and that impacted our price in a way that was not sustainable because the rest of the market wasn't going and Bitcoin wasn't going. And we said that over and over again in the middle of it. What's the element that we're missing? That's the one thing that is super different and even was present in here, right? So even here, we had strength in Bitcoin. We had Bitcoin firing out, right? Here we go. Bitcoin's heading to all-time highs, right? So XRP breaks out and then gets sued by the SEC, right? And then every exchange delists XRP, and it's just a freaking nightmare. But Bitcoin's breaking out, right? And so that was going on in here. That wasn't going on in there for XRP here. Bitcoin wasn't breaking out. There wasn't strength in the market. This is a solo event, news-driven event. So would these be the same things? I find it hard to believe, right? Even this last 2 weeks of price action, this is 4 hours, right? How many hours did this last? Less than 8. Less than 6. This lasts 1, 2, 3, 4 hours. That's it. That's all this was. 4 hours of news, hype, excitement. That's it. That's all you got. And that's not your price action of health, of grinding, right? And then when we tried to find supports, it's like, all right, let's find supports, unattainable, right? So I believe we have just an anomaly, and that's one of those things you almost have to kind of, and it's what sucks about XRP is that we have these things in this, that the SEC has impacted this chart in ways that otherwise wouldn't have happened. And that's the second time. And we're happy to have that because that kind of cleans up the mess it doesn't clean up the mess, but it provides some resolution to the problems that we had in the past. But, this one's our SEC mess as well. So we have our mess happening back here. Then we have, more chart mess happening over here. But if we can look past that and say, what is the market really doing in relation, to everything? If we assumed we never have this 4 hours of insanity, then what do we have? Right? Wyckoff. We have Wyckoff, which is what we have in total, which is what we have in Ethereum, which is what I've pointed on all the different charts throughout the crypto market. Wyckoff. And we're back at sign of strength, just like we are with total. And that this is just an anomaly print from news that was unsustainable due to there not being the liquidity in the entire market. So now we wait. Now we wait for the market to say, YOLO, let's go. And I can't wait. I can't wait for that day to eventually come. Thank you, Jonas. Oh boy, I went long on that one. I can't do that again. That's it for XRP. Deep stuff on XRP. Any other questions after that? I'll make them super brief. Ski Rich, I'm convinced you're a time traveler. My calculator isn't even this accurate. You're like the John Wick of TA. P.S. Whoever gifted membership, I love you. Hey, Ski Rich, thank you very much. And he thanks the 702 crew. All right, Dr. Ty. When Moon after party with BCB barbecue food truck. Why would we get a food truck? We'll just cook it ourselves, man. Listen, we may all be rich, but how do you go poor quick? You just blast through all your money, then you're poor all over again? No thanks. We'll go buy our stuff at Costco, right? We'll get bottled water, Costco brand. We're not going to buy Ozarka. And that way we can have a real good time. Invite more people. Okay. Oscar's morning. Okay. Hi, BCB. Are you sure dev data drove the bulls or did whales fund the dev data? Just pondering. Okay. I don't know, man. You'll have to figure that out. Crypto Pigeon. Yo, BCB, do you still hold Zcash? Of course I do. Is it still lagging? Of course it is. Well, it's really everything. Is HBAR lagging? right? Is BNB lagging? Is ADA lagging? Right? If the whole world was taking off right now, we would know it. You just got a couple of people who are FOMO buying the top of Solana right now. That's the only thing that making everybody think the prices are surging. You have latecomers who were 12Kers who have now bought into the market and they bought Solana. I'm going to do that now. Every 12Ker, you're the late buyer of Solana. All right. Amber, what? It's been like 1.75 years. LOL, that's not long. Amber, what are you talking about? It's been 1.75 years. What are you talking about? We haven't been in this for 1.75 years, by the way. We've been in this thing for, let's do the math. $931 days. I guess I could just do like napkin math and count. Or is that before I even do the calculator? That's what, 2 years and 7 months? So it's 31 months divided by 12. .58. Yeah, 2 years and 7 months. We've been in it for 2 years and 7 months. Right. Top of Doge, 2 years and 7 months ago. Top of BNB, 2 years, 7 months ago. Top of Ethereum Classic, 2 years, 7 months ago. Top of HBAR was one of the late ones. Top of Litecoin, 2 years, 7 months ago. Right. Most of the market topped. Right, here's Monero, 2 years, 7 months ago. So let's take a look at stocks. How are we doing? Dow Jones up 360, NASDAQ up 180, S&P up 57, killing it after this Fed pause. I think the market knows they're done. See, like if you paid attention to what he was saying in that meeting, though, it kind of really backed him into a corner. Say, look, you come out here every time and you say you're tough and dedicated, like to fighting inflation. Are you now just going meeting by meeting? Are you just doing fly by night stuff, pretty much? And he didn't have a good response, and it pretty much became that they are no longer in that position of where they're like, yeah, we have to beat this with the stick, and we're ready to do it as hard as we can. That language is gone. It is now we're just kind of flying by night, flying by the seat of our pants, seeing if this plane will fly on its own now. And depending on wherever the plane goes, we'll make the adjustments. But like they don't have any like legit plan on what they have to do now. They've gotten to restrictive territory. And historically, when you get to 2 pauses, it's over. Okay. Zoltan gifted a BCB membership. Thank you very much. Bunkai, thank you very much. First timer. Munir Hell, thank you very much, brother. He says, I remember when you posted your picture for the first time, I had to show my wife and tell her BCB, hey, what's going on, everybody? She replied, yeah, you guys always remember that. I'm very popular with your wives. Not so much that I'm popular, just that they get to hear my voice all the time because you guys watch me next to them. You probably have your phone out laying in bed. And she's like, oh, great, here's BCB. Hey. That's fine. That's fine. Hello, wives. Thank you for allowing your husband to watch my show. It means a lot to me. And this is how we get through this stuff. This is just what we do. This is how we make our families our monies. Okay, Crypto Buzz. That's for being, thank you very much. He says, that's for being all the hard work you've done for our benefit from one of the lurkers. Crypto Buzz, thank you, brother. Welcome out from the shadows. Big Shroom, member for 4 months, says, I appreciate you every day. Big Shroom, thanks, brother. You're here all the time, man. Barry Roddick says, BCB, have you have wrecked price action for me. When prices pump, I can't enjoy it anymore, as I'm looking for the pullback when everyone gets excited. Member for 5 months. Welcome. Welcome to why it's so hard for me to get subscribers on this channel. Price goes up, caution. While everybody's excited, right? Price goes down. Hey, bull time. Let's go. You have to capitalize on it. Prices go up. You got to post. I need to start posting pictures of me with my O face on thumbnails and pointing up, going, oh my goodness, we're going up. Okay. RJ. Thank you, brother. He says, hey, this is Ryan from C2B Solutions, long-term journey lurker account. Is it possible to tell me how many videos I've watched and liked over the years? Smash that like button, everybody. Thanks for the years of teaching. No, there's no way to know. There's no way. It'd be a cool stat, though, right? Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. BC Adventurer. Hey, BCB, can you please give us a dumbed-down version of the egg strategy for Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Like those were literally two of the ones from a year and a half ago, being like, oh, these ones are not good. Are we waiting for Bitcoin retrace and assess? Yeah, go through yesterday's markets in the morning. I think, look, either they hit some type of fib level or just watch the altcoin market's behavior versus Bitcoin. I don't really want to spend 10 minutes going through all that again because we went through that yesterday. But you got a lot of the EOS Bitcoin Cash Dash crews coming back out again. Just go watch yesterday's stream. I don't know. You know who's using Bitcoin Cash, who's using Dash, who's using EOS. Those were the ones that I got abandoned. So EOS is Twitter even went silent for a year and a half. Like that's how bad it got for them. And so Bitcoin Cash, are they gonna, is there development on Bitcoin Cash? Is there development on Dash? Go check those things out now, right? We have a different market now. Just based on the things I read and like seeing Masari report and stuff like that. I'm still a privacy guy. I don't know if privacy will end up being anything in crypto or if this is all just a giant joke in regards to it being money. But privacy is mandatory. There's zero chance we're all going to use this without privacy. You know how people just love to be like, oh, look, I see where you spent your money. Yeah, like that's going to be okay in the regular world. No, of course not. It has to be private. There's zero chance we're going to use Bitcoin. Zero. So if there is going to be like crypto money, it's going to have privacy features to it where people can't see everything you're doing, and retailers can't see where you're spending your money, scammers can't see where you're spending your money, next door neighbor can't see what you're spending your money on. It's going to have to be private, and so I don't know. I made my guesses. I just consolidated my Dash over to Zcash, and that was a year and a half ago. So it's not like Zcash is doing any better, but there's more discussion surrounding Zcash and Dash that I see. So that's the one I'm going with. George Alexanderopoulos gifted 5 BCB memberships. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. You guys are the best, for real. The Chef, first timer, no message. Now, a lot of times when people send their first message, they don't figure out they send their first super chat, they don't figure out that message thing. It must be tricky for the first timer on how to figure it out, knowing that there's a place where you can click on and you could type a message. But maybe next time. And the Chef, no message, just anonymous. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Oscar Hernandez, well done, stakes, please. Hit the like. Yep. Oscar, I love you. You're here every day, so I don't want you to leave. But this is where I'm going to have to ask that we are in timeout for the rest of the stream and politely ask you to leave. In the words of King of the Hill and Hank Hill, when Bobby asks him, what do we do if somebody wants their steak well done? The answer is always, we politely, yet firmly, ask them to leave. All right. Chris, thank you, brother, says, El Goto started using sentiment and dev activity metric to compare coins, with some of that data different from dev report. Example, Arbitrum grows in developer report but falls in sentiment. Is one more important? All right, we'll see if let's do a comparison live. I can't bring sentiment on the screen. But I'll look it up. Let me see what Arbitrum's stuff says. And we can go to developer report. We go here. Why did this not open? Okay, here we go. Screener. All right, so what we have on here, so just kind of teach you guys a little bit about dev stuff. So this is a lot of stuff we go through in here too, in the blockchainbacker.substack. Of course, I've lost it now. There you go. Let's talk a little bit about this really fast. I'll just give you these details. We're in a different environment in the crypto market right now compared to past bears. So we only have 1,900 people who stayed off. 2,000 now. You guys are coming back. Figure we get a little juice in here for the people who stayed over an hour and 20 minutes. Right. One of the interesting elements about crypto right now is the declining developer activity that we have seen in compared to past like bears. So like in here, right, these three different metrics, this yellow or orange, this is the part-time developers in the crypto market. Here in blue, this is the full-time developers in the crypto market. Down here in gray, these are one-time developers. These guys come and go, fly by night. They're moon boys. They're FOMO buyers. They're your typical retail. I'm in and out, and this is fun, not fun. I hate it. Out. According to Electric Capital, focusing on the full-time developers is the most important metric to pay attention to. One interesting thing that's different about this period right in here compared to like 2018, 2019, and 2020 is you could see that even through the depths of the bear of 2018, 2019, and 2020, we really kind of sustained ourselves in regards to full-time developers. And then, broke out and kept going. This is a pretty big drawdown happening here in full-time developers that's happening here in 2022 and 2023 compared to the past. Now, we do have different narratives going on in crypto right now. The FTX collapse, Celsius, Three Arrows Capital, BlockFi, Grayscale. What are the other ones? I mean, what the stuff that Gemini is involved in with, Barry Silbert and all that stuff. I mean, there's drama, dude. We didn't have that drama back here. We had bigger, can you believe it? We had bigger price drawdowns in 2018 and 2019 than we did in 2022 and 2023. But the narratives and the stories were far worse in crypto in 2022, just far worse. I mean, that stuff. I mean, the worst you had, literally the worst, okay, you had like BitConnect crash or whatever, collapse on itself, but literally like anybody, which was 99% of people who didn't participate in that Ponzi were like, yeah, about time. And of course, like the 1% of people who thought they could just washing machine their money for free money were just devastated. How could this happen? Like, really? So like that was the worst thing that like happened then. And then when we were capitulating back at the end of 2018, the narrative was like, all ICOs are selling all their Ethereum. Oh no, the ICOs are dumping. And that was it. That was literally the narrative. The worst part came in 2020, right? When we're already years into it. And then C19 happens. But as for like crypto related stuff, we didn't have anything. Not like what we've had in 2022. 2022 was just an absolute crusher. I see somebody type in McAfee. Yeah, we had John McAfee to keep us going, right? During 2018, 2019, we had John. You could just vicariously live like a crazy life through John by following him on Twitter. I even remember Eggs and Sam. Sam from To the Lifeboats had an interview with John. Like a 30-minute interview. That's kind of cool. But anyway, you can see developer activity in decline, right? Like negative 20 full-time devs, negative 24% over here, year over year. But, the thing that is different and, why, they even talk about it in the developer report is that the more excitement there is in the market, the more that devs end up coming. Devs end up showing up kind of late to the party because then they stay a little late for the party. So, the peak of this market happens right here, right? In May of 2021. Notice the devs follow behind. The devs still keep coming into the market afterwards because they're late to the party, right? So then, after the party is done, they stay around and then the party gets kind of crummy. And then the party's been really crummy for really the last year. So you can just see that this is the last year of crypto. Man, what a thrilling ride to bring new devs in here to have fun. But that's different than last year, right? We had more volatility. Like when we fall, the excitement came back into the market. If you were not here in the earlier half of 2019, Bitcoin goes into a full retrace back to almost a 702 retracement. It hits almost $14,000 in here. There's just a lot of excitement in the market again. We never got that here. This has been brutal. We just fall and then stay down here. So there's been no rebound to bring those devs back in to have excitement. This is my theory of it, but it is different, right? So we could see that we don't see that big fall in devs. Yes. Do we pause? Definitely. And notice they still keep coming in here just like they did over here in 2021. Notice they continue to come in here. Where's the peak of the market? The peak of the market is way back over here in November and December of 2017, January 2018. Look at this. Devs still keep coming in here. They're late to the party, right? They see big price action. They come in and then it stinks. And then they're like, oh, prices went YOLO again. But look, the top of the market's already in right here. But they still keep coming in because they're like, oh yeah, this is really exciting. And then, they tail off. But anyway, the point I'm getting at, down 24%. Question is on Arbitrum, right? That was I think I can go. Okay. Let me see if I've sentiment going. All right. And let me look at my own sheet too, just so I can reference it in case I have it better in here. Where's my stuff? Come on. Ah, my sheet is all messed up. Dang. What if I close it? I don't save my changes. It's funny when you're talking about an Excel spreadsheet and you say my sheet is all messed up. Okay, I see negative 33% year over year for total dev growth for Arbitrum. Now, I keep my own stuff in here, and I've tracked them for the last 3 months and the last 6 months. So in the last three months, they're up 81%. 62%. For the last 6 months, they're up 81%. While taking a dive last year, they have been on the rebound for the last 6 months. So here's dev activity. Here's commits happening in here. As you can see, there's over, anywhere between 7 to 11,000 commits and still holding strong up here. Your question that you brought up was starting to use sentiment and dev activity metric to compare coins, but some of the data is different from dev report. Arbitrum grows in development, but falls in sentiment. Is one more important? So let's go in sentiment. There we are, Arbitrum. All right. All right, let's go look at development activity. There we go. I'm not sure what you're seeing falling in sentiment. I'm wondering how you're interpreting it too, because really, dev report is just telling you developers, right? They're like in the reports that they're putting out, they're just telling you full-time devs decline. Then you kind of can look at these charts. Like they don't have this like written out for you in data, but they're pretty much giving you total devs, right? So full-time devs negative 30%, right? Over here's 2 years, here's 3 years. I keep my own sheet of this and to show that they are positive in the last 3 and 6 months time frames. But otherwise, what you're looking at for Arbitrum regards to falling, I'm not sure what you're seeing is falling. I don't see it. This is falling, right? So this is the 30, right? They said, they're down 30 devs in the last year. It makes sense. They've kind of held this level, right? Then the devs kind of shift down in here. But you could see that also, and that's the tricky part of it too. I mean, we discussed that in here, that one of the tricky things about the current environment with markets being like this for so long is it's not only where do you draw the line, right? You kind of had this flat range. You could be like, hey, who's growing, who's not growing? And like your basis in here, like your market average is negative 24%, but even Bitcoin, and this is unheard of too, right? This hasn't happened in any time. Negative 7% year over year. This has never happened before. You ready? Ethereum, negative 19% full-time devs year over year. Ethereum has the most number of developers on it, right? Out of all of them. Now, that's the first time we've seen decline. These are your big boys in here with the most number of developers. And they're all in decline. So where's your baseline, right? Is your baseline Ethereum? Is your baseline Bitcoin? Is your baseline market average? Now, that's the challenge with using these data. And that's one of the things we do in here is go through and say, well, hey, if we use that data only and we try to like weed things out, is it perfect? It's not perfect. So the way we did it in there is we were like implementing both of them and showing how they worked together. So if you haven't read that, it sounds like you have though. If you're using sentiment and developer report, it sounds like you've read that. I kind of go through the nuances in both of them. I kind of read the things that I said in there. Chris gifted a BCB membership. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Chris. Anthony Trujillo, hit the plus button. Hit the thumbs up button if you love brisket and BCB. Thank you very much. Dev Benzo says, don't markets tend to usually rip for 3 to 9 months after the Fed pause before it all comes tumbling down? Have you looked at past pauses? We literally went through it yesterday, brother. We pulled it all up yesterday. And we have cases of it ripping, and we have cases of it not. So like in 2000, it was okay. In 2007, it was good. In 2019, it was good. Right? So there's definitely examples of it being okay. That thing all those people wanted for all that time with cutting, like cut. You need to cut. That has always been the signal of get out of Dodge. But yeah, we brought that up, and we even go through markets in the morning yesterday. There was a whole part on that. I pulled up the federal funds rate and overlaid it on top of the Dow Jones. All right, so there we go, guys. We'll see Bitcoin. Again, like we stated it before, to get that move, it would not be a breakout. Pullbacks are completely fine in here. As long as there are higher highs and higher lows, then it's still just structurally what we've expected, or at least our fingers have been crossed for. And we know this is right on time. My fingers are crossed. That's not the case, but fingers are crossed. We can have an exciting, couple of months here in the crypto market. The stock market is ripping to the upside. Is it still continuing? You better believe it. The Dow is now up 397 points, which is 1.19%. The NASDAQ up 1.46%. And the S&P is up 1.5%. ARK is up 7.7. Coinbase 7.7. Tesla 5.4. Roblox 4.4. Loser of the day is Meta. What a loser. Can't you see what everybody else is doing? Come on, Meta. I don't care. I don't know any Meta. But there you go. It's a crushing day over here in the stock market, coming off of the second pause in a row by the Fed. Danielle DiMartino Booth, formerly worked for the Fed in Dallas, and went on television the other day saying that historically, when the Fed does a second pause in a row, that is an indication that it is over. He wouldn't admit that yesterday, The market seems to be thinking it, though. So market rip. This may be our chance to shine until they start cutting because things are breaking. And then we all just run for the hills and we just load up on treasury bills. So yay, 5% interest. Let's go. Otherwise, rock and roll. Let's hope we can get it going today and things can kind of keep stable. Hopefully we see another altcoin or two get a breakout and be the leader of the day as we did yesterday on that absolutely killer day. So, all right, guys. Again, if you're looking for something to do today, check out the newsletter, blockchainbacker.substack.com. Just put a link over there in the chat. Check out bcbacker.com. This is where you can get a lot of videos from me, and they're just like over here on the YouTube channel. I tried to film them in that way of kind of personable style. No PowerPoints in here at all. But it's $39 one time, no recurring fees, no subscriptions for blockchain, for bcbacker.com. The newsletter is a subscription, but not this. This is 40 videos, 11 hours of content, one time, no subscription here. The newsletter is a subscription. But all right, guys, I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. This went way longer than I had expected, an hour and 35 minutes. You've gotten a lot of me this week. I feel that I've invaded your space, that I'm being a little too involved in your life this week. But I guess you always have that choice to turn the screen off if you want. So, all right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it so much. If you could hit that like button, of course, that's the best way to support the channel. And I wish you all a wonderful day as we get ready for tomorrow, last day of the week. It's Friday. Let's go. So, all right, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.